We're going to look at the vocabulary about how to describe people, talking about people. And let's try and find a few ways of saying this a little bit broader than some of the sort of like ways that you always fall back onto. So we've got a happy person here, heureux, or good, or an angel person maybe, you know, very, very sage person, and not so happy person or angry person on this side. So how are we going to describe them? So you could talk about this one as being il a bon caractère. Il a bon caractère. And if we're talking about il, obviously, you know, it's il, so the description, the adjective is going to agree with him. If it was elle, it would be elle a bonne. Obviously, we'd have the feminine. Yeah, we were talking about her. So elle a bon caractère. Obviously, the opposite, not the opposite, obviously, but the opposite is il ou elle a mauvais ou mauvaise caractère. Mauvais ou mauvaise caractère. Il est sympa, elle est sympa, that stays the same. Il ou elle est sympa. That's obviously shortened from sympathique. Now the opposite, I don't hear this very often, but there is an opposite for sympa, excuse me, and that is antipathique. Antipathique. The opposite of sympathique is antipathique. I can't say I hear that very often, but that is the opposite. Now you could say il or elle, but then another way of sort of coming around to it is c'est quelqu'un de bien. There's a de there. C'est quelqu'un de bien. It's a good person. Someone good. Someone good. Quelqu'un de bien. The de matters. You could have that for anything else that you were describing. C'est quelqu'un de généreux. C'est quelqu'un de timide. It's a bit more interesting, isn't it, than just always saying il or elle, est, or whatever. The opposite of c'est quelqu'un de bien, c'est quelqu'un de mauvais. Okay, so quelqu'un de bien, the opposite, c'est quelqu'un de mauvais. You could say, or you could say, il n'est pas une bonne personne. Il n'est pas une bonne personne, not a good person. But one of my favourites on here is if you were talking about someone who looks like they should be a good person, they probably are a good person. I love this. Il a une, or elle, obviously, il a, or elle, une bonne tête. They've got a good head. If someone's got a good head, they're probably all right. Yes? So il or elle a une bonne tête. Obviously, the bonne is describing tête, which is une bonne tête. A few adjectives to describe somebody's character. A few more ways of describing. So these are all going with être. So we know that I'm using il est here, but it could be elle est, or ils sont, je suis, vous êtes. Yeah, so you're going to move it around, obviously, with the verb être. But we're using the example of il est in this one. And these would change depending on the person. So bavard, chatty. The feminine of bavard, bavarde. Yeah, so they would change depending on whether the person, and plurals as well, obviously. Timide doesn't change, actually. Timide, shy. Nerveux, nerveuse. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Calme. Quite a nice one. Nice calme. Stays the same. Optimiste, pessimiste. Stays the same. Masculine and feminine. Intéressant, intéressante. And a word that some people have difficulty saying, but I'm sure you don't. Ennuyeux or ennuyeuse. Ennuyeux, ennuyeuse. Now, the direct translation that you know for this is boring, but, you know, it can be irritating, annoying, that sort of thing, tiring, that kind of meaning. So ennuyeux, ennuyeuse. Well, those are ways. I mean, obviously, that's not an exhaustive list, but it does open up your mind to think, okay, there are lots of ways, aren't there, that you could describe people. So And then we can be quite vague in our expressions. Il est super. Il est super. Yeah, super. Remember to give it the French accent. Super. And then, you know, other ones that are fairly quite vague. Adorable. Merveilleux. Wonderful. Female, obviously, feminine, obviously, euse. Merveilleux, merveilleuse, wonderful. Extraordinaire. Well, these are all obvious. Bizarre, strange. Chouette, chouette, wonderful, again. Great, super. Chouette. One of my favourites. And I came across this the other day. I think I saw it written somewhere, but I'd forgotten about this expression. Sans cesse, sans cesse, which is short for sensationnel. Sensationnel. But doesn't that sound great? Sans cesse. Yeah, I quite like that one. Maybe try and use that when you're talking about it. I mean, this isn't just describing people, of course. You could talk about other things as well using these vague expressions. Now, if you want to nuance it, you want to change it a little bit, then you're going to need some other words. So you can add in assez or plutôt, which means quite, or rather, if you like. So, il est assez généreux. He's quite generous. Or il est plutôt généreux. Yeah, he's quite generous. Yeah. So, assez. You probably know assez, but do you use plutôt? That's a good one to start using if you don't use it already. Il est plutôt généreux. And then you obviously do know très and vraiment, which is really, very. Donc, il est très généreux. Il est vraiment généreux. Yes, we're just popping that in front of the descriptive word. Trop, too much, too. It's the too, T-O-O, too. So, il est trop généreux. He's too generous. And then this great long word always makes me laugh, really. Such a great long word. Tellement, for such a short word in English. So, il est tellement généreux. He's so generous. Voilà. Any questions at all about any of that? All good.